Out of 100 graduates who earn a STEM degree, how many of them are women? What do you think? 30, maybe 35. Karen Horton, a CEO of Society of Women Engineers, informs that while women make up over 57% of college graduates, only 14.8% of engineers in the workforce are women. The gender gap in professional STEM fields varies by specialty, but it remains relatively wide across the board. For example, only approximately 7% of mechanical engineers, 12% of civil engineers, 15% of chemical engineers, and 13% of aerospace engineers are women. The world ratio of women is 1:1. Even so, a very small percent of women enter STEM-related fields. Why aren't women entering STEM-related careers? That is the question I will be answering today and providing solutions for. At a young age, women face gender bias while pursuing STEM interests, and schools need to take a bigger initiative to diminish the bias, for the bias leads to a gender gap in STEM-related fields. There are many arguments to why women are entering STEM-related careers. The first one, and the main one, is gender bias. Gender bias begins even before a baby is born. When the parents decide to have a child, they paint a baby room. They typically paint the room pink for a girl and blue for a boy. The gender bias continues with toys and activities. Boys are naturally exposed to gaming, computer programming, and building things, while girls are usually more exposed to things like dolls, cooking playsets, and dress-ups. Karen Horton. Bias is natural. Nobody thinks of playing with dolls as an activity a young boy would do. But this bias keeps girls from STEM clubs and taking STEM-related classes and discovering a new interest. Because they never get into STEM activities, STEM clubs, STEM classes as a child, they never discover that interest. Because they never discover that interest, they never pursue it as a career later on. Gender bias is natural. However, it keeps young women from pursuing STEM-related careers and is causing the gender gap in STEM right now. Another main argument to why women don't enter STEM careers is because cognitive ability. Many argue that women lack the cognitive ability, that the math and science is too complicated for women to understand, and that is the reason they are entering STEM-related careers. I am currently taking classes at Lexington Technology Center, and I currently am taking classes related to programming, game design, computer programming 2, and computer programming 1. I took computer programming 1 last semester. In my class, there were 17 people, but of those 17 people, 2 of them were girls, myself and Allie. We went through the course, test after test, quiz after quiz, and by the end of the semester, it had appeared that the only 2 people to get 100 on every single test and every single project were the only 2 females in the class, myself and Allie. I even found myself often helping some of the boys when they were confused about what they were doing, what they were coding. In my personal experiences, women have not only been able to understand the math and science required for STEM, but to excel in it and surpass even men who are taking the same material. The main reason is not that women lack the cognitive ability, because women have the cognitive ability to understand math and science. In fact, women are equal to men, perhaps scoring a half a point or a point higher on IQ test. James Flynn, a New Zealand IQ expert. Now, I understand there is no easy fix to the gender gap in STEM careers, especially since it's due to gender bias that has existed for years. However, actions to shorten the gap can be taken, and if those actions are taken, then it will normalize women in STEM, therefore decreasing the gender gap. The first action that needs to be taken is elementary and middle schools need to offer a wider range of classes to their students that have something to do with STEM. Classes need to be offered like those offered at Seaford Middle School. Seaford Middle School offers a ton of options. They offer classes like botany, forensic science, scientific Olympiad, engineering and design, and science wizard. Allowing more options piques students' interest and it allows them to discover a new passion, but it also normalizes women in STEM. Allowing more options gives women a more opportunity to take these classes and find an interest. And when they find an interest in it, they're going to stick with it and they're going to take more classes like that and even pursue a career in it in the future. So if schools offered a larger range of classes, it would normalize women in STEM and decrease the gender gap in the future. Furthermore, elementary schools should have their students participate in Hour of Code. Hour of Code is where once a year, maybe even once a month, schools have their students use drag and drop coding to code for an hour. Kids often look forward to their exploratory classes, especially in elementary schools. So to get students excited to code and looking forward to participating in this is an ideal situation to have women find interest in programming, computer science, even STEM, and to normalize their participation in it. Because when women participate in code, they'll show that they're good at it, and when they show that they're good at it, it'll show others that women can participate in STEM and excel in it, therefore normalizing the idea. The final action that must be taken is that parents have to support whatever career their daughter chooses to go in. I know for a lot of parents that becoming an engineer is not their first choice that they would prefer their daughter to go into. However, any parent should be excited and even proud for their daughter to enter an engineering STEM-related career. They always pay well and they're always in high demand. The Telegraph states that parents of boys are twice as likely as those of girls to encourage their children to choose a career in science or technology. And just 1% of people with daughters see them growing up to be engineers. Lauren Davidson. Without support from their parents, women may question their career choice and choose to go into a different career to appease their parents that they might not have as much as an interest in. Parents should always support their daughter going into a STEM-related career, because their opinion may matter more than they believe. Fixing the gender gap in STEM is not an easy fix. It is caused by gender bias that has existed for millennia. However, actions can be taken to shorten, to minimize the gender gap, and to normalize women in STEM. Schools have to offer a wider range of classes for their students, like those offered at Seaford Middle School. And they need to have their students participate in Hour of Code more often. Finally, parents have to support whatever career their daughter chooses to enter, no matter what, because their opinion matters more than they could believe. Women have to enter STEM careers. STEM is a technology-focused area, and it needs a wide variety of people to enter it so that there is more creativity, more productivity, and better results. Change is never an easy process, especially because of bias that's existed for years. But change is inevitable with support from schools, parents, and even classmates of those who are women looking to enter STEM-related careers. Thank you.